Hello, I'm Edward Tarte, once a Catholic priest for 5 years in the 1960s, now an atheist, which means I find no credible evidence for the existence of any God. This is the 47th in my series of weekly videos for friendlyatheist.com. In my video of last week, I explained why I do not think it is a good idea for a person to enroll in a seminary. In this video, I will focus on leaving a seminary if you are already there. I have no direct knowledge of this. If I were a seminarian and wanted out, I would simply go to someone in authority and express my desire to leave. When I was in St. Mary's Seminary from 1956 to 1963, from time to time some seminarian would leave. In some cases it happened over the summer. In other cases it happened during the school year. As far as I know, it was always a private, secret process. The seminarian would make an appointment to see one of the priests in the priest's private room after evening prayers. The seminarian would express to the priest his desire to leave. Maybe the priest would suggest giving it another week or so. Once the decision was finalized, the seminarian would pack his belongings secretly in his room and would make arrangements, probably by phone, for his parents or someone else to come by car and take him away, either while all of us were in class or in the middle of the night when all of us were presumably asleep. Then the next morning some of us would notice the empty spot in the seating arrangement in chapel, and the news of this latest departure would spread throughout the student body. Now for the rest of this video I'm going to fantasize about other scenarios of leaving the seminary. In scripture class, our priest teacher is teaching us the book of Exodus. I raise my hand, Father DeSherry calls on me, and I say, Father DeSherry, you omitted this passage in chapter 21 that says, if a man smites his slave with a rod and the slave dies, he must be punished, but if the slave lives a day or two, he shall not be punished, for the slave is his property. Why did you omit that from your teaching? And why would our all-good God, author of the Bible, say such a horrible thing? He should have said, slavery is wrong. Then advocates of slavery in our nation's troubled past wouldn't have been able to use the Bible as justification for having slaves. Father DeSherry would stare at me in disbelief, and so would my classmates. Father DeSherry would say, Mr. Tarte, you are out of line. You have just committed the mortal sin of blasphemy. I don't think you belong here. Second fantasy scenario. In dogmatic theology class, Father Soklich is teaching us about hell. I raise my hand, he calls on me, and I say, Father Soklich, over the summer I was on jury duty, and the judge emphasized to us that the punishment must be proportional to the crime. God, with his creation hell, with eternal torture, violates that principle infinitely. Our supposedly all-good God is in fact infinitely unjust. Why do we worship such an evil monster? Father Soklich replies, Mr. Tarte, you blaspheme. You don't belong here. My third and final fantasy scenario. Father Galvin is teaching us St. Thomas Aquinas' philosophical proofs for the existence of God, such as, everything that our senses perceive is imperfect, therefore there must exist a perfect being, and that being is God. I raise my hand, Father Galvin calls on me, and I say, Father Galvin, that argument is so weak it boggles my mind. It makes no sense to me. How can any rational person accept such nonsense? Father Galvin says, Mr. Tarte, we're going to get you out of here within 24 to 48 hours. In all these cases, during the hours that follow, my fellow seminarians avoid me as if I had contagious leprosy. Nothing like this ever happened when I was in the seminary. We were taught that when a priest teaches us something, we accept it, period, end of discussion. Actually, no discussion even started. In my seminary experience, the closest event like that was a rather humorous incident that I describe in my earlier video, Edward Tarte Causes Controversy in Seminary School. I invite you to watch that video if you haven't already. Before we entered the seminary, our young Catholic brains were already poisoned by our church. The seminary simply administered daily additional doses of poison in large, continuous quantity. It systematically undermined any potential that we had for thinking critically. The seminary stunted our growth intellectually, socially, emotionally. It all but destroyed our potential for leading worthwhile lives. I am so glad that after 6 seminary years and then 5 years as a priest, I broke free from the strangling grip of the priesthood and the Catholic Church. To all of you, thank you for watching this video.